YouTube, what's up? It's been a really long time since I've actually done a deck profile video, so I figured why not. Something I'm going to start doing that I think would be really nice for the channel is doing deck profiles that kind of accompany the recorded games that I get. So this is actually the deck profile for Empoleon. I recorded about 2 games with it, I think, that I posted on here, and maybe have a few more backed up that might randomly end up on the channel like later or so. But this is the version that was running Virizion and Smeargle. So let's get into the list. For starters, I run a 4-2-4 Empoleon. Your streaming Empoleon is your main attacker. He's also your draw engine for the most part, although the other cards do help you with drawing. So you really need to run the 4-2-4. You could go to 4-3-4 and then do 3 candy instead, but I've found the 4-2-4 with 4 candy build to be way more effective. In this really faster format, you really need to hit those candies, and people tend to target Primplups really hardcore if you evolve it, so it's kind of a weird thing they'll attack that over an Empoleon. But so that kind of explains the Empoleon line. In terms of Smeargle, I run 4. He's really good in the beginning. He's probably better than Virizion, even though you sacrifice more HP. So I run 4 of him to try and fill my bench in order to max out my damage with attack command, or at least max it out on my half. And then I also run the 3 Virizion for its dual draw attack. Additionally, as you can also see, I only run water energy, so I don't ever use Virizion's Leaf Wallop, but I could use, theoretically, Smeargle's attack for 2 colorless energy, even though it's pretty poor attack. But that's pretty much it for Pokemon, and the 10 water energy is pretty straightforward in a deck that, doesn't need more than a single energy on a single Pokemon ever, so it kind of just makes sense that you run a low count. So let's look at trainers and supporters. In terms of supporter, I decided to go with a collector-based engine instead of a dual ball-based engine, just because this deck needs to get out a ton of things. I also, if you notice, excluded Pichu, and I'm just going collector over Pichu, simply because Pichu is just vulnerable to the snipe on a Darkrai attack, and I no longer see him as viable in this sort of deck. So I run 4 collector just to get set up and kind of get things going, get out my Piplups and all that. In terms of draw supporters, I'm running 4 Oaks just because it's the most consistent and conservative supporter in the format. The 3 N are really helpful just because Empoleon really takes N very well, even on your own side of the field. If you've taken a lot of prizes, you probably have Empoleons out, that's how you've been taking prizes, and you'll probably be able to diving draw and get 2 cards for every 1 that you drew, basically, or something like that. So you can really pull yourself out of those ends. Additionally, the Smeargle and even Virizion, if you really need it, can pull you out of those pinches. Additionally, I run 2 Juniper. I only run 2 just because I'm afraid of discarding things early on. So, I'm running, 9 draw supporters for this deck, which doesn't seem like a ton compared to, some of the lists like CMT stuff that have been running like 11 to splits of like draw supporters and random receivers, or even 12-2. But again, we're running a Pokemon that has a kind of built-in draw in its attack, and I found this list to be pretty consistent. In terms of trainers, I'm running 4-4 on Communication and Candy just to get out those turn 2 Empoleons, because it really can put pressure on the board if you actually get it out second turn. It's rather impressive how effective that can be, even in a basic dominated format. I also run 4 Junk Arm to get back all my trainers and just kind of abuse everything. I run 3 Catcher, and I run 3. I would like to run a 4th, but it's hard to find room for things. But at least running 3 is important because people expect you to have a low count, maybe down to 2 even in a lot of cases, and I felt that 3rd catcher really does kind of boost you up a lot. People try and play around you expecting you to only have 2 catchers. If you have the 3 and the 4 Junk Arms, you're really going to be able to hit catchers when you need them, and it's really going to win you some games. Additionally, 3 Max Potion. I've really been enjoying this card in the deck. It really, kind of gives Empoleon a huge edge against stuff like Mewtwo, Tornadus EX, Darkrai, and pretty much everything in the format other than Zekrom and Zekrom EX, both of which, Zekrom EX actually, kills it no matter what, knocks it out, my bad. But Zekrom and Thundurus are really the 2 that still give it trouble, especially an Eviolated Zekrom. That's a pretty devastating kind of setup against this deck. But the last card I'm running are the 2 Super Rods. 2 Super Rods is something I've done before. I've even proposed it in things like CMT lists. But I kind of like it in this deck a lot, just because you're using max potions to discard water energy. You end up discarding water energy a lot with diving draw, And on top of everything, you're streaming a stage 2 attacker, and that's pretty much your only attacker are those Empoleons. So you really need to keep those cycling. So I really do recommend 2 super routes, and some cases you might even need to play a third with Junk Arm. But that's the list, guys. I hope you enjoy it, use it, post a video response if you do use this deck and record a battle with it, and that'd just be kind of cool, kind of link everything together. But make sure you guys rate, like, comment, subscribe, do your thing. It helps the channel out, and I'll catch you guys later with a Zeal's deck profile.